Well, at least now I know how you say your name. All right. Welcome to Weiztbuch, everybody. We have a special guest with us, Doug Weitzberg.
Weiztbuch.
Weiztbuch. Sorry, Weiztbuch. TV producer. He decided to allow us to have him on the show. And when we do interviews on Weiztbuch, we have 10 questions. Guest gets to pick any number they want, and we get to go. So he chose three before I forgot to start recording. So sorry. But basically, it was out of all your TV shows, what's your favorite? And you were talking about the Ultimate Surfer or the Last Surfer.
Yeah, the Ultimate Surfer. Surf
Ultimate Surfer. Okay.
competition show for ABC. It was a favorite of mine just because I'd always wanted to go to this surf ranch.
Hmm.
It's a pretty private, exclusive place, and it's super expensive to go. And I was like, I'm never going to get to go to this place. Cut to a few years later, I'm living there for over a month filming a show.
Wow.
It was after COVID hit, and we created a bubble, and there was no ins and outs for the entire month of filming. So I was like living at
Hmm.
this surf ranch and got to enjoy the wave, and it was a really cool show too.
Wow. What year was that?
2020, right? That's
Oh,
when
right. Oh,
COVID hit.
right in the middle of COVID. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
COVID hit. We were already in pre-production. We stopped down. We didn't know what was going to happen in the world. And then by June, it was like we're coming back up. We're coming up with safe producing practices and production practices, and we were on set by July.
Wow. And you said it was a month. So, when you do like those type of things, like the bubble, like you said, nobody can come in, nobody can go out. Were you still allowed to have like outside food, or it was just you had to cook?
We set up a production village. Good question.
Hmm.
And we lived like basically next to the surf ranch on the same property was this massive dirt area. We created a village there, and we had chefs on site to cook food 3 meals a day for the entire 150 person production team. And I think they probably had food delivered,
Hmm.
because I don't think they had food for the month or 5 weeks we were there. But generally, yeah, there was no ins and outs otherwise.
Wow. And you learned to surf when you were a kid?
I started going to the beach growing up in LA, like as a
Hmm.
kid, and high school, middle school, high school, I started taking the beach bus to the beach. But we weren't surfing.
Wow.
The boards were expensive and they were big and
Yeah.
hard and dangerous. And I got into surfing in college. I met some guys from Orange County, and they were surfers and took me to the beach and kind of introduced me to it.
Got you. Okay. All right. Three's out of the way. All right. You can pick another number. You got all of them except three.
9.
Nine. Okay. What's the biggest obstacle or obstacles you face on a day-to-day basis as an executive producer?
Interesting. Biggest obstacles. I'd say like the creative process is a
Right.
challenging process. There's a lot of people involved in these shows. And you shoot one thing, but when you take that footage into the edit process, it's a whole different animal. And there's I work with editors, they have a point of view, they cut the show a certain way, working with, people like myself in post-production, and we deliver the cut to the production company. They get a chance to note the footage and the creative and give notes. Then it goes to the network, who's like the ultimate sort of final say, and they give notes. And so this sort of notes process on shaping the creative and shaping a show in post production is a very challenging and can get a bit monotonous, I guess you could say, and just like it's really it's just someone's opinion. I don't know that there's
Hmm.
someone's opinion is always right or wrong per se, but it really just is like who's the most powerful position, and they get the final say in the end. It's very collaborative and it's very fun, but just sometimes like the notes process can be a bit challenging.
Yeah. So you would say like kind of like the finer details, like right when you're trying to finish up the show, that's kind of like the
Yeah, but the
main
post
part.
production process is the longest part of a production typically. Like if I
Hmm.
work on a show for 10 months, it'll be like 2 months pre production, 1 month shoot, 7 months post production.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Next up,
Let's go to one.
one. All right. What's your biggest inspiration right now and why?
Hmm. I mean, like from a family standpoint, it's my kids. I had kids, and that kind of changes your perspective on your career, on your life, and having kids. Uh, they're so it's such a significant thing in life. So I would say that, but in terms of like if it's like a creative inspiration, um, I'm kind of inspired by the creator economy. I'm inspired by the fact that the traditional gatekeepers are kind of getting pushed to the side, and I'm just inspired by the fact that there's all these people with a story and a POV that are able to sort of connect with an audience directly through social media and all these different platforms, and it just is growing by the minute, and the opportunities are really endless, and I think it's inspiring.
Yeah, definitely. And how many kids do you have?
Two. Yeah, I got
Two.
a 7, almost 8-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son.
Wow. So they're pretty close in age.
Yeah.
And you like get to spend a lot of time with them?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. After COVID hit, our whole like sort of workflow changed, and where I used to go into an office, you know,
Mm-hmm.
8, 9, 10 hours a day, completely changed, and now I can work from home. The whole process is remote, and so even though I'm working in my office, I can pause and see them, and I'm home for dinner every night and bedtime and all that kind of stuff. So that's actually been a nice benefit.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You get to be more in tune with your family life. That's really nice.
Yeah,
And as far as what you were saying earlier about the creative process and how it's much easier now with social media and stuff like that. Growing up, you definitely saw the changes. Like I was from like the computer lab classes as a kid in elementary school to everybody having a phone to now everybody can do anything on the phone. Everybody's trying to be famous. So it's like we really saw the true evolution of it in the last like 15 years.
absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of the Wild West out there in terms of content and
Hmm.
getting eyeballs. Um,
Yeah,
and like I said, it's changing by the minute, and it's going to keep changing. Sort of like YouTube's obviously the dominant player in the space,
yeah,
especially for short form. Um, but you never know, like who's going to come along with some new novel idea, way to connect with their fans, whatnot, and could take over, start to like eat into the market share.
for sure. Okay, you've got two, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
10.
10. So I have a lot of people who are in the creative mindset. They would love to get into where you have been in terms of behind the camera, in front of the camera, or just being in control of being, in those rooms and all that. So what would be your best advice to somebody who's chasing that dream?
I think that the tools are all in front of all of us. Like you said, you can use your phone for anything. YouTube's free, upload content. If you've got skills or even skills that you want to hone in, you got a story to tell, you got a great personality you want to showcase, whatever it might be. Or if you're just a great shooter, then you got to attach yourself to some kind of great talent or person to showcase them. But, there's nothing stopping anybody from chasing their dreams and going after creating content or things like that. Like, yeah, there's a lot of competition. How do you cut through? But I think that's sort of, you know trial and error, and try things and see what works, what doesn't work, what people start to relate to, what people like, what people comment on, kind of A B test content, and just keep going, like if that's what you want to do. But I think that's it's a potential skip the line way in.
I definitely agree with that. I think a lot of the times it's just starting that people
Yeah,
can't really just jump. That's how I think of it. And when
Yeah,
we started the show, that's kind of the thinking I had. We graduated high school, and we always said we wanted to do it. So I took the leap, and here we are. So,
yeah. You don't need to be in LA anymore. I'll tell you that. I have
oh yeah, for
so
sure.
many good friends that have left LA. They just you don't need to be in LA.
Yeah. Okay.
Number two.
Two. This is kind of a throwback for you. How did you get started into the world of producing, and what are some things people don't know about it?
So I studied business and film in college, and and then I started doing internships in the entertainment industry during my summers, and then even during my senior year, I worked for the Jimmy Kimmel Live show, and
Wow.
um, and then my first job out of college was with NBC at the Olympics. I went to the Summer Olympics as a PA, production assistant. And then I worked at a talent agency, one of the biggest global talent agencies. And I call that like the MBA of the entertainment industry. It's kind of like going to grad school and really like figuring out what this industry is all about and how it ticks and how the deal making works and who the players are. And so that was like a good baseline of education and experience. And I decided I want to try to get more on set. So I went to work at a production company as an assistant in development and for like the head of the company and put in my year there and kind of told them I wanted to get on set. And the first show they put me on was called The Pickup Artist for VH1. This is more than 20 years, about 20 years ago,
Right.
and that was it for me. Like I fell in love with being on set and producing, and not that I was a producer then. I was like an assistant, whatever. But I put the time in, and I learned post production, pre production, production. I kind of honed my skill set, and every show that I did, I sort of challenged myself to get better, get better connections, be more creative, be better at interviewing, get better on the Avid and post production, and working with editors in the post process. And I've been doing that for my entire career.
Wow. I mean, that was a thorough answer. I appreciate that. How would you say you got into the internships like that? That was your initial thing.
Yeah, I
Was
mean, it was just like applying, really, like, cover letters, a resume, applying. I mean, I was fortunate to be at a top university too, I think
mhm.
that helps. Um, but yeah, I mean, there was nothing special per se.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the Olympics? Like, what year was that?
2004. I'm an old man.
Wow.
I'm an old man. So 2004, I graduated in May, and by July, I was in Athens working on set at the Chityah Rowing and Canoeing Center, assisting the entire live production crew. We were broadcasting all over the globe, and it was a cool venue to be at because rowing and canoeing is a very early morning event before the wind hits the water. They need kind of pristine conditions. So I was up
Mm,
early. I was up 4 a.m. on set by 5 a.m. But we would finish early by like 11 a.m., maybe noon at the latest. Once the wind kicked up, sometimes earlier, we were done for the day. And
wow.
being a part of the production team, I had a pass that had like an infinity sign, which gave me all access to any venue at any time because I was like part of the
Ooh,
production team. So I would take off on these like public transport buses that they had going all across the city, and I just pick a venue and go check out different sports for the whole afternoon. It was so fun.
wow, that's amazing. I would love to do something like that.
Yeah, it
So
was
did you
cool.
get to watch like the main sports like basketball?
Yes, all of the
Um,
above. I saw,
wow.
not only did I see those sports, I saw like the best. Like I went to like
Mm-hmm.
semifinal, finals, and like the women winning the gold in softball. I was there.
Mm-hmm.
The men winning the gold in volleyball. Like I was at a lot of the big moments.
Wow.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's amazing.
hmm
And as far as what was the talent agency that you said was kind of like the MBA of
The William
what you
Morris
want to do?
Agency. Now it's
Mm,
called William Morris Endeavor.
okay,
It's a
okay.
massive, massive global talent agency, represents all the big actors, producers, directors, writers, you name it.
Okay. We
Production.
know what to look out for. All right. Two, four, five, six, seven, eight.
Let's do two.
Two. Okay. Oh wait, no, sorry. We just did two.
Uh, four?
And we're flying through these. Yeah, four. Okay. How did you hear about Life's a Chore? I ask every guest that because, like I told you in the email, we get some weird spam emails sometimes, and I don't know who's a real person and who's a bot. So,
Yeah, so I have a company that helps me sort of do reach out,
hmm
and I sort of tell them the types of podcasts that I think I would be a good fit for. A lot of different specific information that kind of helps curate a list, and then I kind of have like my generic outreach email that goes out with a follow up if I get no reply. So that's kind of how I did it.
hmm okay. So you don't really listen to podcasts, or you do?
Yeah, it's I told you about the kids that I've
Oh
got.
yeah, true. Right.
So they take up a lot of my time. I mean,
hmm
there's a podcast called The Town that I listen to quite a bit. It's all about kind of entertainment industry and all the different big deals going on, the changes happening, things like that.
Okay. Okay. Might have to check. Oh, with the Ringer, yeah, they produce some
Yeah,
pretty
that
good stuff.
Matt Bellini.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we got five, six, seven. Wait, did you do that on purpose?
No, seven.
All right, seven. Oh, and eight. Sorry, but what is your life like outside of work? Well, we kind of just talked about. You have two kids, and you spend a lot of time with them. And since you can work from home, I'm assuming you have other stuff you're into besides TV shows.
Yeah, soccer's been one of my passions my whole life. I play soccer a couple times a week.
Nice.
I like I mentioned earlier, I love surfing and the beach. So that's like a fun activity on the weekends. Trying to get my kids into the beach. I love to travel. Luckily, through work, I've been able to travel to probably over 30 countries. I think I've got 35, 37 countries on my list, which is pretty high.
Yeah.
And I just like exploring new cultures and civilizations and locations, cities. I play tennis with some friends kind of midweek and like to hang with friends, things like that.
As far as soccer, you have a favorite team?
That everybody asks me that, and I feel like I have such a bad answer, but like I didn't grow up with soccer on the TV. Like soccer wasn't big
hmm
in the States growing up. We didn't have the MLS when I was a kid. There was only soccer in Europe, but you couldn't watch that on TV. So I didn't grow up watching. I just grew up playing. And then at some
Right.
point, like in my 20s and 30s, like soccer was everywhere on TV and I would watch it here and there, but I didn't just like gravitate towards a team. I more gravitated towards certain players, like
hmm
Messi and Ronaldo, like everybody. Like they're such icons, what they've achieved and how they play and what they've done for their teams. And I mean, I absolutely love the World Cup. I've been to three World Cups.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's by far the best event on the planet. There's no better energy and sporting event than
For
that.
sure.
I do enjoy watching the World Cup a lot.
What were the three you went to?
So as a kid, I went to I think it was 92, it was in the US.
hmm
I think it was 92. And then in 2010, it was South
South
Africa.
Africa.
Yep, I was there for 2.5 weeks. I went to three games. And then 2014, it was Brazil. And
Wow.
so 2010 was by choice. I went as a fan, got tickets, did the whole thing. 2014 was sort of by accident. I was filming a show for Red Bull. I was filming in Sao Paulo. The guy that I was filming had to go to Europe for a week. And while it was during the World Cup that we were filming, he was partnered with like Neymar's uncle, and we were bringing clean water filters into the favelas of Brazil.
Wow.
And then this guy John Rose had to go to Europe for a week, so our production stopped down. And it was actually cheaper for us to just stay in Brazil for the week than to fly back to the States and back. And so the
hmm
production company just got us an Airbnb and even bought our flights to to check out Rio. So for a week, we
Wow.
got put up in Rio and got to sort of explore and experience Rio and watch games from Copacabana Beach with that massive 100-foot screen, and it was really cool.
That's amazing. I didn't know they had Airbnb back then. That's crazy.
What, in 2014?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got Airbnb in 2014.
So did what matches did you get to see like in person?
In 2014, none. We tried to go to, I
Mm.
think it was Spain, and we didn't have
Oh,
tickets. We tried to scalp, and it was like a bad scene. There was people getting arrested for scalping, and we got scared off.
hmm.
And then the tickets were way too expensive. They were like
Yeah.
minimum $500, and we were like, nah, that beach was fun. We could just watch at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Cape Town, I went to a round of 16, a quarterfinal, and a semifinal game. I think the semifinal was like Holland versus Germany, if I'm not mistaken. Or was that the final? Can't remember.
No, the final was Spain and Holland.
Spain and Holland or Spain and Germany.
Spain and Holland. It was
Spain and Holland. So I
yeah.
think the quarterfinal I went to was like Germany and Holland, maybe.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Something
I'm
like
not
that. You've
quite
got a
sure
good
about that.
memory. I don't
Yeah.
remember some of the specifics as much, you know? It's like I've been
Mm.
in a lot of games and so I have I
Nah,
don't
yeah.
have the best memory of like over, 10, 15 years.
Nah, yeah, it was a minute ago, and the World Cup is coming up
Exactly.
next year,
Can't wait.
so I know I've definitely got to make it to at least one or two. But no, it was interesting because when I was growing up, like you mentioned about Messi and Ronaldo, I started to become like a soccer super fan. I would say like my sixth grade year, so that's like 2012. So I was kind of catching up after the 2010 World Cup, but I do remember like watching all the games and the highlights and stuff like that. And then 2014 is really where I locked in. I'm a big Messi fan, so I have like all his jerseys. And obviously they lost in 2014. I was very upset about it, but he got his redemption much later in life.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, as a soccer fan,
Love that.
yeah, I've been following it since then. My favorite team is Man City. So I think it's interesting that most people don't have a favorite team because, when you have a favorite team, you're very invested emotionally.
Right.
And a lot of people are. You can be casual about it. You
Yeah,
follow
I
any other
mean,
sports?
part of the problem for trying to become like an English or European soccer fan is the games are all for us like Saturday morning for like 3 hours.
Yes.
It's like I don't have 3 hours
Yes.
to watch soccer 6 to 9 a.m. or something. Like my kid wakes up and they're like, "What are we doing? Let's go!" And it's like,
Yeah, yeah. Nah, the early kickoffs, they kill me still. Like 7:30 in the morning.
right,
But like sometimes you'll get like once we get to the winter months, most of them are like midday, like 3 p.m. or like 1 or something like that. So
right,
it's not too bad. And Champions League is always like middle of the day, like 3
right.
as well. So yeah, that's cool though. Man, I'm real jealous. You've been to 3 World Cups, especially the one that was actually in America. So
Right.
you'll be at the next one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right, you got five,
Five.
6. Okay. So when I was reading up on you, I saw that there was many different producer hats that they have. They have story producer, post production, supervisor, and consultant producer. Could you explain the differences and which one did you enjoy the most?
I mean, it's basically just a big ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started at the bottom as a story assistant, which is basically a PA or like an assistant to the creative team, the story team. Keep in mind, we're talking specifically about unscripted television, right? We're not talking about scripted TV or film. The titles and roles will be a bit different there, but I can
Mm-hmm.
speak to what I've been a part of. And so the ladder kind of goes story assistant, associate producer, segment producer, producer, senior producer, supervising producer, co-executive producer, executive producer. That's kind of the ladder, generally speaking. There's other offshoots of like within just the title producer, there could be a story producer or other things like field producer, things like that. But that just sort of defines within that role, like, are you more in the field? Are you more in post production? So it's hard for me to say which one I like the most. I mean, sure, I like the being at the top the most,
Okay,
the
and which one would
higher.
you say you enjoy the most?
What's that? Did I lose you?
Oh no, I didn't say anything.
Uh,
No,
so I
no.
think in terms of like what I like the most, I mean, sure, I like being at the top the most. The more senior you are, the more creative control you have and power, I guess. Not to say I'm a like power freak, but it's just like your voice matters more, which is
Yeah.
nice. But it takes time, and there's skills you need to develop to be able to like be that senior and kind of steer the ship properly. So back to your question of what does each person, what does this role do? I mean, producers are involved in the creative process. Generally, I mean, it can be the whole shebang, start to finish. It can be just pre-production, production, or post. One, not all three, or two of the three. And in pre-production, it's very much coming up with creative ideas and segment ideas, and it very much depends what type of show you're working on. Is it a game show? Is it a competition show? Is it a travel show? Is it a food show? And so, depending on what the creative is, you're responsible for coming up with ideas to make this show unique and fun. You're involved in the casting process. You work with the cast in advance sometimes to get them prepped and ready. In the field, you're involved with interviewing the cast or the characters to get interview bites. Working with the director to make sure you're getting all the shots you need and telling the story properly. And then in post production, we've talked about this a bit, where you then have to take the footage and work with editors and craft episodes.
Okay, okay. So it's kind of basically it's like your influence. It kind of grows the higher up you get.
Yep. Yep.
So so as far as like a consultant producer, is that kind of like
That's kind of a funny title. Usually,
yeah.
at least in my opinion, that's a title where you may not want, you may get like asked to go work on a show, and they can't give you the job title that you're used to getting for some reason because someone else already has it. So you
Hmm.
take consulting producer because you're working on the show, but you can't necessarily get the title that you want.
Hmm.
Or it could be that you just are more of like you're more of a sounding board and an idea person, but more removed. If you're a
Yeah,
consulting
yeah.
producer, you're not like as hands on day to day. You're more big picture or removed, I would say.
Yeah, like they're kind of asking more for your like it's an outside opinion a bit.
Yeah, like your guidance. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. All right, and the last question we have is number six. Oh wait, six and eight. Sorry, we have two, 6 and 8.
Okay.
We can do
6.
six. Okay. So I saw that you worked on Kitchen Nightmares and Hell's Kitchen. So can you tell us how it was working on two Gordon Ramsay shows?
Yeah, I can absolutely. Um, so Gordon is a big personality, and he's the type of guy that when he walks into the room, you absolutely know it. And he's a perfectionist, and his perfectionism, he expects it across his productions.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's definitely like a high stress job where you need to perform and you can't really make any mistakes. Um, because when he shows up, he's on and he wants everyone to be on and he doesn't want anything to go wrong. And so those were big budget shows with a lot of people involved. I was working on teams. Both shows, each episode has its own producing team. So for Kitchen Nightmares, I was on a team of 3 people. Hell's Kitchen, I was on a team of 4 people. That's just like our specific show producing team. There's dozens of other producers above us, like
Right.
overseeing the entire series and from the production company. But they're fun shows to make. working with Gordon is very memorable. And yeah, it was a fun experience. Like Kitchen Nightmares, again, traveling all over the United States, going to these restaurants, trying to help them. That was a mixed bag of like the type of people you deal with and encounter. It's
Hmm.
like they sign up for the show, but oftentimes like they push back on the feedback that they get from Gordon. They don't want to hear it, and it's
Right.
like a funny
Definitely.
dynamic.
Wow. Do you remember the episode? I don't know if you ever watched the show, but do you remember the episode where it was kind of like the couple, and I think they had like a bakery or something, and they ended up suing Gordon Ramsay or something?
I don't know that story.
Oh, okay. I was about to ask if you worked on that episode because it's like infamous.
I feel like I know what
Um,
you're talking about, but I don't know exactly.
yeah, yeah. What was I gonna ask? Oh, did you ever get to try the food on Hell's Kitchen?
Yes,
Not obviously not Kitchen Nightmares, but
yes, yes. That's a big perk. So in Hell's
hmm.
Kitchen, he has a team of chefs with him, sort of, there's like teaching going on sometimes. Like
Right.
if there's a challenge, it's like, this is how we want you to make it. Or if, there's a dinner service, there's a lot of behind the scenes cooking going on. And they're like amazing chefs. And whenever there's extra food, or if maybe they made something that's just for a shot, like there's a lot of stuff going on where we get to taste it and try it. And the joke is
Mm.
that everybody comes out of that show like 10 pounds heavier. That's the case for like all culinary shows, baking shows. Like you work on those shows, you're definitely going to have like a perk of good eating.
Oh, for sure. I think you worked on the Great British Bake Off or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So there's
Mm.
a big British show called like the Great British Bake Off, and then we did an American version. We
Hmm.
actually filmed it on their same set in London, outside of London. So I went out
Wow.
there for the filming. It was like their same set, but we brought American bakers and American hosts. And yeah, it's a fun show for ABC. It's a cute show.
Wow. Wow. And you worked on like many different networks. Like you talked about ABC a bunch, but I know you've done some shows on MTV, and then you've done some on like kind of like less ob or I guess say more obscure channels. Especially like the British TV shows. That's what really interests me when I was reading up. I was like, wow, like he really got to go to London or Manchester and all that.
Yeah, I've got to travel a ton for work. Every network's a little different in terms of like their sensibilities and what type of show they want delivered. Um,
Hmm.
I worked on a show for Netflix called Buy My House, and it was like Shark Tank for real estate. So instead of people coming to pitch their business ideas to investors, it's everyday people coming to try to sell their homes to real estate investors.
Wow.
Yeah, so we did 8 episodes of that, shot it in Albuquerque at Netflix Studios, and it was a fun show. I got to learn a lot about real estate and home prices and valuations, and how location matters so much for the value of a home. And I fell in love with real estate to the point where I decided to build a game about house price guessing. So I was playing the daily game Wordle all the time, and I decided to combine Wordle with real estate and create Housel. And so I built Housel, which is a house price guessing game where
Hmm.
each day there's a new house that you get 6 pictures and 6 clues to try to guess the price of the home within 5% of the list price.
And honestly, this is why I love doing the format that we do with the questions because it kind of like weaves and segues in a crazy way. Because the last question we have is literally about the household app that you or the website that you have.
Oh, funny.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you segued into it perfectly. I when I was reading up on it, I thought it was an interesting concept because at first I thought it was you're just guessing what house like whose house that is. I thought it was like celebrity houses. Then I saw that it was no, you're guessing the price of them. So that's even more interesting, especially when you. So some of the clues they will tell you like what part of the U.S. it's in, or like is it all around the world, or is it just here?
It's mostly in the US. We keep it
Hmm.
domestic, like 99%, maybe 96%. Like every once in a while I throw a curveball with an international home just because
Hmm.
I think it's fun to see different homes, what they look like and what they cost in different areas. But mostly I keep it to the States. Um, and so yeah, it's all about the price and so the first clue is the state, and the second clue is the city. The third clue is the square footage. The fourth clue is the number of beds and baths. And so I think it's a fun game, especially like, I know you're significantly younger than me, but I don't think real estate is talked about enough to the youth, to the younger folks.
Yeah, I
I
would
can
agree.
speak for myself. Like I never talked about real estate. I don't know. I didn't when I went to try to buy my first house, there was so much unknown that I had to deal with.
Hmm.
Like, what does getting a loan mean? What does it entail? What am I signing up for? What's an interest rate? What, why is this home worth what it is? And what should I be looking for in a home? What about the future value of the home? And I think through Housel, because it's a fun, lightweight game that just takes a minute or two to play, through Housel, I hope that, there's a new generation of people that can learn and start to have a conversation around real estate so that hopefully one day when the time comes that they're able to buy their first property, whatever it might be, a condo, townhouse, whatever price point, that they have a better leg up and they're more educated on the process.
For sure. Because, like you said, it's very underutilized or under-taught.
Yeah,
Because the most we got was like telling you how to balance a checkbook, like as like the little sheet that you give be like income, and they would just say mortgage, and we were just supposed to know what that meant.
right.
Even down to like when something breaks in your house and you own the house, like it's on you. You can have insurance and all that, but ultimately, you pay for most of the damages. I've never owned anything yet. I'm only 24, so I'm always used to somebody, they come and fix it. But when you own a home or a townhouse or something like that, that's not as big of an option. So it's definitely something I need to up my knowledge on. But it's definitely an interesting concept because I definitely wanted to ask you about if you are into real estate. Do you actively like work with like trying to buy different properties up, or you're just interested in like the visual aspect of it?
Um, well, I was able to buy my first home like just over 10 years ago. I bought a townhouse. It's all about
Hmm.
what you can afford, right? I mean, sure,
Yeah.
everyone always wants more, but you got to get what you can afford. So I got a townhouse, and after 4 years, I ended up selling it, and I made a lot of money on it. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I didn't do anything but pay my mortgage, and I made a lot of money. So then I was like,
Hmm.
wow, this is a interesting, business to be in. So then I bought
Yeah.
my next house, and I've been here for 7 years, and I know the value of this house has gone up a lot. And I'm not really in a position to like be in real estate investing and buying other properties, but I just like real estate. And like we've talked about this remote world where you can work
Hmm.
anywhere. And so I think that that's a concept that really lends itself to people moving somewhere to be able to buy a home. Maybe rather than being in LA where your average house is $1.5 million, you can move to Boise, Idaho, and get a house for 300,000 or something. So um, I enjoy real estate. My wife's a realtor, so I hear a lot of real estate conversations in the background, and I like listening to it. And I like designs. I like to know about price points. Just I don't know. I like everything about it.
That's really really some good insight. Especially because your wife's a realtor. I think that's kind of cool to incorporate what she does into something that you do.
Yeah,
Does she help you pick some of the houses?
she doesn't. I've asked her
Yeah.
opinion along the way, but it's kind of my thing. I like
Okay.
plug into Zillow and Redfin and Realtor, and I try to intentionally pick a lot of variety. I've had some
Hmm.
complaints from players before that they feel like the price point's too high or too, like the homes are all too nice and not realistic,
Yeah.
which I wouldn't disagree with. I am actively trying to work more lower price points home in.
Hmm.
Just one issue is it's more fun to look at beautiful homes, I think, than to look at like older, lower end, boring homes. So that's like the
Right.
one sort of issue, I would say, but like I try to work it in as much as I can, but I would agree that maybe it skews a little too high, but you know, it's all fun. It's for fun, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if it was like just like a one-story house with like a brick like
right.
roof or something, like
I couldn't do that
it,
every day, but you know, mix it
yeah,
in once in a while.
yeah, yeah. And I was thinking about that when you were explaining it. Like, I know several people, and it's kind of like a meme online where people go on Zillow. They're like, "I'm on Zillow, guys. I'm looking at houses that I can't afford." So, like, there's definitely a niche out there for people that just love to look at houses and
Yep,
just from the specs of the house, they can have a good guess off the rip.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm
Mm,
trying to tap into, I guess.
for sure. Well, we finished all the questions, but I do have a little bit of like, I want to ask you a little bit more about some of the stuff I saw on your LinkedIn. Um, you talked about how you went to USC. I don't know if you ever said it, but you went to USC, which is, if not the biggest college in California, like second or third. So I'm sure you had some crazy experiences there, seen and did a lot of cool stuff. But I saw that you spent a summer at Duke, and I was really interested in that because obviously we are based in North Carolina. So I thought it was kind of funny that, somebody from California came all the way here for a summer, I think I read.
Yep, I sure did. It was hot. Oh my God, your summers are too humid. I
Yes.
slept with a fan literally inches from my face to try to keep me cool at night. This was before the Duke housing had AC. There was no
Oh,
AC in
wow.
these dorms, okay? That's how old I am. I was
Yeah.
young. I went out there at probably 15 years old or something.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
And I went out for a summer. I took a class. I think it might have been biology, but I can't remember which class I took. It was like a summer school program, is what I was
Hmm.
doing. Um, but it was kind of an excuse, I guess, to travel and see another part of the world and see a university. Um, and it was a great experience. I mean, Duke is such an incredible institution, and
Hmm.
I had a blast over there. It was great.
Yeah. Nothing like the humidity over here.
Ugh, don't I'm not jealous of that.
I mean, we grew up on it, so we're used to it. But I know if I get out there, like Las Vegas, Arizona, even California, to an extent, that dry heat, I know I'm like, wow, like this is different. Like it's just hot, but I'm not sweating.
Right.
And then one last couple things. I know you have a company called Show Busy. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if you still do that, but on this show we have like a funny relationship with AI. Now, don't get me wrong, AI has its place, but it's the deep fakes and the kind of like the stuff it does to the environment, which is not good, that we're not here for. But yours is it's for production type thing like that. Like it's
Yeah, it's
kind
not
of to
so much AI. I mean, I guess
mhm,
it depends what you define as AI. It's really a
right.
smart algorithm that is meant to pair crew and jobs. It's really like a job
Hmm.
service for people to help them get, well, it's a two-sided marketplace where we're helping people find jobs, we're also helping jobs find people.
Hmm. Specifically for like working in the show business, because there's
Exactly.
other apps that do the same thing where it's kind of like the job share thing. I've used them a couple times where it's kind of like a temp thing. You go to this business, do a shift, and then that could be it, or they could bring you back. So for that, it's kind of like the same thing where you kind of build up and you get better and better jobs as you go, I'm assuming.
Kinda. It's not
Hmm.
exact that. It's more of like it's not really a temp thing. It's more to like, you need a camera person in North Carolina, in Charlotte, on this date, and we have that information of, who lives there and who fits that role and who's available, and we then recommend our algorithm recommends people for the job, and then it's up to the person looking to then contact that person, confirm they're available, that they're a good fit, and then hire them.
Okay, and I'm assuming you upload like a resume or like some type of like
Yeah, you
credential.
create it's very much like LinkedIn in that you create a
Mm-hmm.
profile and update all of your information.
Okay, okay. Well, like I said, we did have the questions. I got all my little tidbits out the way. So thank you once again, Doug, for joining the show. We really appreciate it. This episode will probably be up. What's today? Thursday. It'll probably be up by Monday.
Great.
And one of the things we do on the show is we love to at the end we like after when we post it or whatever. I don't know. You have Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We do a story post and we just tag who we had on the show, and that's basically how we get our our reach out there. Because as of right now, we're kind of in between of the styles we're trying to do, but that's really the only requirement we have. Besides that, the rest is on us. So once again, we appreciate you joining the show, and make sure to send our IG link.
Okay, cool.
Thanks
Nice to
once
meet
again
you.
for joining us.
Thanks for
Yes, of
having me.
course. And I hope to see you on a show working here one day, and hopefully you can get our foot in the door somehow. Like I said, we have some friends that, and one of our co-founders of the show, he really wants to get into the business. So if we have any questions, I hope that we can use you as a contact.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care. I appreciate
All
it.
right, you too. Take care.
All right, see you.